GM, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today is Monday, the 25th of November, and we had Bitcoin closing the week above 98,000. So highest ever weekly close for Bitcoin. And it's really starting to feel like $100,000 is inevitable here. Obviously, we spoke about this weekly Tom DeMark 9. Right now, that might pause the price for a little bit, maybe for a week or two, maybe going into December. That might be the point when we finally get this push. Obviously, we talked about the 1.618 resistance at this $102,000 level. So there are things that we are looking at here to kind of tell us to be a little bit cautious. But, for me personally, I just see this level breaking at some point. I see 100K breaking probably within the next month. We probably come up at least to 102,000. Either we get a reaction there or we just blast straight through. And at that point, I think probably after that move has taken place, we actually get the pullback in Bitcoin that I think many people are waiting for, probably that sort of 10 to 20% pullback in Bitcoin. But I'm not entirely sure that it comes from here. We did have a pullback yesterday. We came down to around 96,000. Bitcoin recovering yesterday. And yeah, it remains to be seen. Obviously, we're just under an hour away from the US Open here. So do we see another sort of bullish wave of buying coming in on Bitcoin? And do we finally make the push to 100,000 today? It's possible. I think as every day passes, we get closer and closer. Look, I think on the downside, Bitcoin, if we do pull back, I don't expect us going much lower than this sort of swing high here. So obviously our breakout level, call it around about sort of 93,500, I think will probably be support for Bitcoin. I think there'll be buyers coming in at 94, 93. So look, I don't really see us going much lower than that. Potentially we can come down and test this trend line. But I think Bitcoin probably holds above 90,000 before it gets the 100,000 break. And I think, look, if you're a sort of big institutional player, big trader that's looking at this market right now, I think with 100,000 being inevitable, you're just going to be wanting to bid this market on any dip, because for me, the smartest people I know, a lot of the Bitcoin OGs, they just believe that 100,000 is going to happen. This is a historic moment. It's a big moment for Bitcoin. And I don't see us getting up to, sort of 99,000 and then just failing to break this level. I think this level probably breaks sooner rather than later. If we just go onto the liquidation heat map, we can also take a look at where the current liquidations are building up. And let's see what this is showing us. Not looked at this yet today, but I'm expecting we'll probably see quite a lot of liquidations above price. So obviously, when we talked about this on Saturday, we did talk about there being liquidations around sort of 97 to 96. Obviously, price came down and took those. And we did actually say more than likely that that is what we see first. We actually see the price come down, take out those liquidations. That's what we've done. And now, obviously, the liquidations are now starting to stack up above 99,000, which is what we'd expect. If we just go over to give it a 3-day and see if that's, I assume that'll be sort of painting a similar picture. Yeah. So you're looking at sort of into that 100,000 up to about sort of 1,001, quite a lot of liquidation stacked up. So yeah, I do think that probably Bitcoin's next move, now that it's taken that liquidity just under price, do we get one more spike lower? Potentially, but I think it's more than likely Bitcoin makes its way back up to 99,000 and starts to grind higher. Of course, we could just consolidate sideways, but I don't see there being a catalyst really for much of a sort of move lower from here. So, I mean, with the Tom DeMark weekly 9, obviously that potentially could have been a reversal, but we didn't see a reversal candle coming in. We haven't seen sort of the big selling coming into the market yet. So I think as long as Bitcoin keeps on closing above 97,000, I don't really think there's any need for concern. And I believe that Bitcoin most likely makes its way and challenges that 100K level again this week. So looking at Ethereum as well, we can see Ethereum's looking powerful here. Ethereum has already taken out last week's weekly high, and we are pushing on to our target, really, where we said we're expecting Ethereum to get above 3,800 coming into this trend line. Obviously, it's a sort of longer term weekly trend line connecting the previous cycle high to this current cycle's high. And Bitcoin on the daily, like I say, making sort of fresh highs today, fresh recent highs, shall we say, sort of from the summer. So yeah, I'm expecting Ethereum to probably carry on up as long as Bitcoin remains above that 97,000 level, probably to carry up towards 3,800. And then potentially a break of that coincides maybe with Bitcoin breaking out from 100,000, which I th still think is most likely. That is the path of least resistance for me from here. Solana starting to pull back a little bit. We did talk about Solana seeing some consolidations. Obviously, again, a weekly Tom DeMark 9 sell, and also there's been one printed on the daily too. I'm not expecting Solana to come down too hard. Obviously, it will be dictated by what Bitcoin does. Potentially, Solana does come down at some point and flushes closer to this sort of 210, maybe 220 area. We've already back tested the 200, so potentially do we kind of get that low? Obviously, we're going to have some inefficiency down to 215. So potentially Solana, could pull back with the rest of the market, but obviously, assuming that Bitcoin remains strong, I don't really see anything happening of that nature right away. Just looking at the Solana weekly, we can see. Don't think we've made new all-time highs just yet, but we've come very close. So obviously for now, we would say that's a retest. Do we come a bit lower, reaccumulate, and put a bit more of a sort of handle on this? So obviously right now, looking at a bit of a double top, but I expect that to almost certainly get broken out over the next month. And looking at Pepe as well. So Pepe, like we say, still consolidating, taking a little bit of a breather. That's perfectly normal, perfectly healthy. Consolidating at new all-time highs is encouraging for Pepe. And obviously, we spoke about it sort of coming back down, potentially retesting the previous all-time high. I think that move is still potentially on the cards for Pepe. That could happen, but obviously, again, it will be dictated on what Bitcoin does. And just looking a little bit more at the altcoins as well. So Bitcoin dominance, like I say, that's absolutely incredible how that has come right up to that target I set around the sort of 61.65 level, and we're getting rejection from that exact point. So obviously this was, drawn on here weeks ago, and that's exactly where we've come into. Originally, I mean, I had this resistance on from sort of months ago. I was thinking Bitcoin could come up above the 60% level, Bitcoin dominance, sorry. And we're seeing a reaction there. So I'm not saying this is going to sort of roll straight over, but I do think at this part of the cycle, now is probably the time when you want to be considering altcoins a lot stronger for your portfolio. And obviously we come into this golden pocket as well, the 618. So yeah, I mean, if Bitcoin was to sort of chop around for a bit here, Bitcoin dominance wise, and then start to roll over, that would really coincide with what I've been expecting. And, Ethereum starting to reverse against Bitcoin, altcoins starting to go into an alt season, potentially from next month all the way into, sort of deep Q1, I would think could be on the cards here. And just looking at traditional markets, obviously after the weekend, traditional markets back open. So the dollar now has a Tom DeMark 9 sell. We've seen that work out very, very well last time. So this is back at the end of last year. Similar kind of time of year as well, end of September. Obviously, right now we're in November, so later on in the year, hitting what I believe to be a significant level of resistance. If we just look at this trend line, I'm trying to think where this sort of comes in from. Um, but yeah, that's basically the previous swing high level that I put on there. So look, there are some signs on the dollar here, which potentially, could be encouraging for the dollar to sort of come back down and roll over. Obviously, this Fibonacci is no longer really relevant anymore. So really, I'll be looking for the dollar to get back below this 106 level here, back below this swing high, and then obviously a breakdown of this descending trend line, and I think we'd really see the dollar start to roll over. So yes, encouraging signs from the dollar showing a bit of weakness already this week. And just looking at the stock market's opening up strong today. So that is obviously good for our cryptos, as there is a definite positive correlation between crypto and stocks, obviously all in the basket of risk assets. So yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. So just to recap, Bitcoin, as long as it's closing above 97,000, I think it's remaining strong. I expect any sort of down moves to get bought up fairly heavily and quickly. And I am still expecting 100K to happen over the next couple of weeks. It could be this week. So I just think we're so close to this level now. Like I say, liquidations are starting to build up above 99,000. That's going to provide some positive momentum if we get above 99,000, probably to carry us over the 100,000 level. And from there, I think we probably spike a bit higher and potentially we see more of a correction from a higher price. But I don't know if that will happen right away. Like I say, when that does happen, altcoins will probably see some significant pullbacks too. So, I mean, my current approach on altcoins, I've been accumulating. I've de-risked a little bit in terms of some of the altcoin leverage positions I'm in, but I've still got the majority of those open. These are longer term holds for me. The altcoins that I shared on my most recent altcoin picks video, I'm still very bullish on all of those. I've been accumulating those, and when we get this next dip, any margin that I've raised from these leverage positions will go into those altcoins to accumulate for the next wave of this cycle. So, yeah, things are looking good. Obviously, I'll keep you updated, daily streams. So if you've liked today's stream, please do smash a like. If you want to see more, make sure you subscribe. There's going to be more videos coming up this week as well. I need to make an update on XRP very shortly as well, because I've been getting a lot of stick for my last video. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that one probably within the next couple of days. And have a fantastic day. I will speak to you all very soon. GM.